Good morning, everyone. I'm Dali Santana Rhoda. I'm a research assistant at FIU's Jack D. Gordon Institute for Public Policy. I'm also a master's student under FIU's Criminal Justice degree program. My research focuses on China's monopolization of critical minerals throughout Latin America and the Caribbean, and how this plays a role in the People's Liberation Army's military modernization. For our next session, we have the great honor of introducing Admiral Alvin Halsey, who will discuss SOUTHCOM's security priorities throughout Latin America and the Caribbean. This session will be moderated by Eric Farnsworth, Vice President of the Council of the Americas. Please join me in welcoming our two distinguished guests.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see they used a picture of me that's about 15 years old, so they're making me look better than I deserve, but I appreciate that. And I appreciate the opportunity, sincerely, by the conference organizers to give me the privilege, and it is indeed a privilege, to have the opportunity to conduct this keynote conversation with Admiral Alvin Halsey, who is the commander of U.S. Southern Command since November 2024, as all of you know. Because our time is short this morning, I'm not going to go into the Admiral's very impressive biography, which all of you have in your conference materials, and it is an impressive biography. But more importantly, if I can say, is not what he's done, but who he is. In my experience, Alvin Halsey is a leader, he's a gentleman, he's a man of character, and he's somebody that people will follow not because they have to, although they do, but because they want to. And he's somebody who I've gotten to know and have become, if you can't tell, a big fan of his. And this is, as I mentioned, a privilege. Admiral, as you know, my son is a lieutenant in the Navy, and I told him I was going to be conducting this conversation, and he had one word for me. He said, cool. So in addition to all of the things I just said, I want to thank you as well for making me cool in the eyes of my son. So thank you very much for that. That's something that many fathers don't have the opportunity.
Was he talking about you or me?
As I mentioned, the time is short this morning, so we're going to jump right into the conversation because there's a lot to cover and not a whole lot of time to do it. So Admiral Halsey, this is your first public opportunity to speak since taking command outside of Congress. And it really gives an opportunity for you to set the stage, set the table, frame the issues as you're seeing them in terms of what you see as priorities for the region, most pressing challenges, top opportunities for the United States in the Western Hemisphere under your region of command. Would you please give us a sense of how you're viewing the region and how you're framing these issues?
And Eric, thank you for the question. Thanks you for moderating the discussion today. And there is a great photo of you as well, so that's pretty neat. I also like to thank FIU and the Tejada Foundation for their support in the region and making a difference. To be clear, SOUTHCOM is a warfighting organization. Our most fundamental duty is support and defend the Constitution and ensure the safety and the security of the American people. Now, to be clear, the defense of our homeland is directly linked to the security and stability of our partners in Latin America and the Caribbean. So as a combatant commander, I'm responsible for the contingency planning, operations, and security cooperation with our partners in Central America, South America, and the Caribbean, what we refer to as our neighborhood. And we refer to it as our neighborhood because of the physical proximity, the interrelated culture and values, and the shared economic security concerns. Now, from a mission standpoint, my mission really, I think, are four real key areas: deter aggression, defeat threats, rapidly respond to crises, and then build partner capacity. I spent a lot of time in that last two categories, rapidly responding to crises. We have hurricane season come up here shortly. In the last couple of years, several years, SOUTHCOM has responded, and we will again, earthquakes, volcanoes, droughts, wildfires, floods, over and over again. But then that last pillar is building partner capacity, which really makes a difference for our partners. I'll share with you that my first deployment to this region was over 34 years ago doing the counter-drug mission. But this region, our neighborhood is so much more than drugs.
Yes.
Right? I would share with you that there are challenges and threats today that if we don't take deliberate steps across the whole of the government, this region will change forever. So as I got a chance to be the deputy commander for 22 months, and so it gave me a great foundation to kind of move very fast when I got in the seat as a commander. And so as I look at the region, I look at it through three broad lenses. First is, what are those challenges and threats that I'm facing that I think about day in, day out? The second one is the capability and capacity. What is it that our partners are asking for? Those opportunities that you mentioned earlier. Then finally, what are the levers I use as commander to engage in the region to make a difference? So what I'll do is I'll walk you through those.
Yeah.
Then you can take the questions where we like to go.
Sure.
But when I think about challenges and threats, the first thing that comes to mind is the malign state actors, China, Russia, Iran. I think about the transnational criminal organizations, which are responsible for bringing drugs to this nation. They're responsible for the illegal migration as well. They contribute to that piece there. So again, transnational criminal organization. A lot of our partners really view that as one of their major concerns. Mm-hmm. Then you have the violent extremist organizations. You have the drug trade, I touched on earlier. You have the illegal, irregular migration, which continues to be a challenge. And then you have natural disasters. I touched on that earlier. This region is second only to Indo-PACOM for the number of natural disasters that occur. And then those kind of the top level things I think about. Underneath that, immediately below that, is instability that I see currently in Haiti, in Cuba, and Venezuela, right? So those are things that I must touch every day as a combatant commander. Then I go to the capability and capacity, those opportunities. What is it that our partners are asking for? The first thing they ask for is presence, our presence. Presence means power. Presence sends a strong message to our allies and partners that we're there, and also sends a strong message to those transnational criminal organizations, those would-be adversaries, that we are there, and we're there to make a difference. I've been very clear at my team that as a commander, SOUTHCOM, we must be credible, present, and engaged, right? We have to continue to do that. The next thing our partners are asking for is maritime domain awareness. Now, a lot of our partners can't really see what's off the coast. So when you think about illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing, you think about the counter-drug piece, you think about out-of-area deployers. So our partners are asking for support there. So we think in terms of aircraft, of ships, of coastal radars, drones, and then we have enhanced domain awareness. One thing we work through the FIU, so it's a great tool for us as well. So those things that they're asking for from that standpoint, right? The next thing, more increasingly, I'm seeing questions about cyber support. So one thing we've done at SOUTHCOM is every opportunity, every exercise, every regional conference, we focus on the cyber hygiene and cyber awareness. And we've been able to deploy joint combatant command cyber assessment teams to help our partners. We've sent out subject matter experts to help our partners as well. You probably saw in late last fall, Paraguay and Costa Rica both came out and called out nefarious activity, malign activity on their networks by the PRC.
Yep.
Just recently, Guatemala came out just a couple weeks ago, and made the same statement. So again, our partners are understanding that. We see more and more of that as well. The next thing our partners are asking for is exercise support. We do 8 major exercises a year. We just completed trade wins in Trinidad and Tobago, roughly 23 partner nations there. And that's going to build capability and capacity for humanitarian assistance, disaster relief type missions, maritime operations, cyber. We did a lot with that piece there. We have CENTAM gardening going on right now, which is in Honduras, actually Guatemala. So again, another opportunity, same type thing, maritime ops, cyber ops, counterinsurgency ops, HADR. So we have to continue to do that, right? So those are real big. Then last I just mentioned, because as a Navy guy, we have Unitas coming up here this summer as well. So again, a major opportunity to continue to engage in the region. So that's kind of covers a piece there for the exercise. Next thing is space. It's really huge for me, right? We're going to stand up Space South, which is my component command for the Southern Command here coming up in the next couple of weeks. And really big point there is there's a lot of PRC, China, space and even infrastructure in this region. And our partners want to know more about it, and I want to know more about it as well. So right now there's 10 PRC-linked space sites across 5 countries in the region. Think SOCI sites, space object surveillance identification, telemetry tracking and control, and BETA sites. Why is that? As this region is second only to mainland China for space and labor infrastructure. So I have to make sure as a combatant commander, what does that mean in the future? Last 3 points I'll touch on is intelligence sharing, major place for us to be able to help our partners, intelligence and information sharing. I mentioned enhanced domain awareness, which is a great unclassed system. It can track IUU phishing, wildfires, floods. We've been able to provide that system for our partners. And also you have the educational opportunities. We have international military education training, our war colleges, WENSAC. So those things always have a baseline in democratic values and respect for rule of law and human rights. So again, that's a very powerful thing for us as well. And then 2 more things I'll touch on from a capability capacity, opportunities. One is innovation. And specifically in this case, UAV and counter UAV, UAS technology. Our partners in Colombia have been challenged over the last year over 140 attacks, right? So, and just recently I have 2 of their Colombian military folks killed from ELN, FARC, TCOs, learning these basic rudimentary steps from Ukraine, where they're taking UAS, explosive device to it, and killing their troops. We're helping them through DIU as well as our Army to have counter UAV technology. And finally, in this category, a lot of partners ask for economic opportunity. I mentioned earlier the hold of government. We have to continue to deliver where we can from that standpoint, and finding ways to have opportunities there, and I'll touch on that in a second. So that's that broad brush, if you will, capability and capacity, what our partners ask for, those opportunities. So what leverage do I have? I'm a posture limited theater, and at any given time I work for 3 to about 5,000 troops downrange. So again, everything I do matters. So every look in the eye, every handshake, every word we say matters. My biggest lever I have as combatant commander is security cooperation. Generally about $130 million a year. That's going to do the finance my joint exercise program, you know, special radio telescopes, boats, ships. We try to do things to impact our partners very clearly. So think foreign military sales, foreign military financing. Also, we have a state partnership program, a huge lever for me. I mentioned Trinidad Tobago, trade winds, Delaware National Guard was down there, flying aviation ops, doing exchanges there as well. So 24 states were partners with 30 nations in the region, very powerful for me as well. You also have the Humanitarian Assistance Project. We still can do, and at this point, we're still doing those minimal cost projects, less than $25,000. We still get it vetted. But again, with fires in Argentina not too long ago, we have to give some PPE. We're delivering some equipment today, as a matter of fact, to Trinidad Tobago, to our hospital there. So again, we'll continue to do that. Our biggest request is the clinic in a can. So it's a clinic, a containerized unit that you set up, you plug it in, and hospital gear ready to go, right? The next thing I have is what we call a Theater Maintenance Partnership Initiative, a new initiative we started about a year and a half or so ago, where we think about building theater logistics integration, building that cultural maintenance, cultural readiness, think burden sharing, think opportunity to kind of lift our partners up and build that readiness. So we think aircraft, fixed wing, rotary wing, as well as riverine type patrol craft to do their own maintenance and help them out with that. Last 2 things I'll touch on is our framework for Western Hemisphere allied collaboration. It's a construct we came up a couple of years ago. Right now we have several partners in the region, allies in the region. We have the French, we have Dutch, we have Canada, we have UK. And we realized we're all in the region doing different things. And we try to, how can you operationalize that? Make it more effective. And we're doing that now too as well. So a couple of months back, we were able to call up the ships and brought 3 ships together to do some exercise and move away. But again, understanding what capability we each bring, so when the bad things happen, we're there. Last 2 things I'll touch on from a leverage, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers currently have over 100 projects in 17 nations downrange. The one that jumps in mind very quickly is the Coca-Cola Dam in Ecuador, built by the PRC, assessed to have over 7,000 cracks, causing erosion concerns upstream. So again, being there and helping our partners out, and the same with the Panama Canal as well. And then we have regional conferences. We do those 3 times a year, CENSEC for Central American, CANSEC, Caribbean, and then SOUTHDEC for South American. All those conferences, we come together, senior leaders, and talk about the challenges and threats we see in the region. And finally, I'll just share from an economic standpoint, we stood up a commerce L&O in SOUTHCOM headquarters just last year. So right now we're trying to find a way, how can we work faster to deliver when it comes to foreign military sales, foreign military financing, looking at Office of Strategic Capital, the DFC, the Development Finance Corporation, International Development Bank, and then Exim Bank, right? So we found a great lever last year where we actually had Exim Bank come in and sign an MOU to Trinidad and Tobago for $500 million to provide them coastal patrol craft, aircraft, and drones, right? We did it again with St. Kitts and Nevis, Barbados, and then with Guyana. So there's opportunities that we can turn faster if we can, direct commercial sales, U.S. jobs, U.S. Companies. So we're trying to do that as well. So a lot of things we're doing, but those are the levers I have, the challenges and threats I see day in, day out, and then the capability and capacity we're trying to respond to.
My head hurts just listening to you, and you're the one who has to do it. So
How do you think I feel?
Yeah, I imagine. But I'm so glad you touched on the final point in terms of economic growth and development. For me personally, that's been a 35-year quest in terms of trying to make the case that economic security is national security for the United States, and you can't have economic security for the United States without the Western Hemisphere. So your priorities list is just extraordinary. You mentioned two, I don't know if I call them threats. Yeah, I should call them threats, but two challenges, let's put it that way, that did not exist in the Western Hemisphere when you started government and when I started in government back in the early 1990s. The first is cyber. The second is China. China existed, of course, but it was a totally separate, different situation. Both of those are directly interconnected. There's one area in Washington these days where you can get bipartisan cooperation, and that's a discussion of the challenge of China globally. So my question to you, Admiral, would be, when you're in discussions with foreign leaders, what are you telling them about China's engagement in the region? Because they have the argument about the economics and China brings money and all these things, but from a security perspective, you're seeing a different scenario. What are you telling them and what are you hearing back?
I think the first thing I would say is beware and read the fine print, right?
Yeah,
so to be clear, I think PRC China remains a long-term strategic competitor. They're a pacing threat, and they're setting the theater.
Yes.
I believe Beijing's approach to the region is primarily driven by economics, which provide access, influence, and the opportunity to coerce our partner nations into unfavorable terms. In short, I think they see unchecked opportunity, and they're playing the long view, using economic statecraft to advance their foreign policy goals. When you look at the Belt and Road Initiative, the PRC portrays that as providing expanding financial, economic, and trade opportunities. Currently have 22 of 31 nations signatories of the Belt and Road Initiative. Panama has recently said they're going to back out of it. I think Colombia is thinking about joining. But I think by the time our partners realize they've been deceived, they found themselves with more debt, high interest rate loans, poorly constructed infrastructure projects, data insecurity, resource extraction, and environmental concerns as well, right? So that's something that we have to understand. And so again, that's why I mentioned read the fine print, understand what they're asking for. The other part is when you look at the state-owned enterprises, there are currently hundreds of thousands of Chinese state-owned enterprises around the globe. I think in the region they are exploiting the instability, the corruption, weak economies, and the lack of foreign lending to advance their foreign policy and their power in the globe as well, right? So we have to watch that very closely. So that's from an economic standpoint. Again, right now, China is a leading trading partner in South America. U.S. is a leading trading partner for the Latin America, Caribbean at large. So, but there's a military view as well, right? So when I look at the Chinese access, influence, and their efforts to develop dual-use sites and facilities, it should be concerning, and it is. You think about deep water ports, you think about space-enabling infrastructure, you think about 5G technology, you think about the safe city, smart city technology, arms transfers and military deployments. So all those kind of sets the stage for what's next, right? And I would say that I think their efforts to establish access to infrastructure projects, increase their logistics and basing for potential military deployments in the future in close proximity to the United States. We should be very concerned with that and make sure that we have our partners align with us as we go forward.
And do you get a sense from your regional partners that they're aware of those issues, or is further education required? I'm just in a general way.
I think education is always required, right? So that's when I think about the trade wins exercise, the different regional conferences we do. We talk about the cyber piece, right? So we were able to partner with our partners in Paraguay and Costa Rica, Guatemala, to expose malign activity, right? So they continue to learn these things. And so, but we can't sit back and think they're going to just find it, right? As trusted partners, we try to go and build our partners' capability capacity so they can understand and see the threats around them. And so it's very clear that we have to do that day in, day out. As we engage, I have foreign liaison officers in my headquarters. We have foreign liaison officers at JADF South, Counter Drug Mission. So again, the key leader engagements matter when I go downrange and engage, and we'll continue to do that, but we have to do that.
This administration has made a real priority for the Western Hemisphere. The number, I mean, the Trump administration's been in office for just over 3 months. The number of cabinet level visits to the region has been unprecedented. And let me just list the one, I probably missed a few, but the Secretary of State has been to the region twice and just hosted Caribbean leaders in Washington. Secretary of the Treasury, Secretary of Homeland Security, of course the Secretary of Defense have already been to the region. I want to, because it's in your line of command, I want to talk about the Secretary of Defense's trip to Panama. This is an obvious important relationship, and the question of canal security came up during the trip. And so I guess I would ask you as the combatant commander, what's your bottom line on canal security? It's a major throughput for the global economy. It's a strategic asset for the global economy, not to say the United States. What's your bottom line on canal security?
So first of all, I think I applaud visits to the region.
Of course.
I think we need it, right? So we've had a lack of visits in the past. I think I would share with you right now, there's a renewed interest in Latin America and the Caribbean, Western Hemisphere specifically. I've had more assets allocated to me in the last couple of months than I've seen in the past. With regard to Panama Canal, as a SOUTHCOM commander, it's my role to defend the Panama Canal in time of crisis or conflict. And I will do that by, with, and through my Panamanian partners. We have to, right? By, with, and through. As I think about the PRC in China around the globe, their access to infrastructure projects is well documented. And the Panama Canal, the Panama itself is no exception. We know they have the port holdings in both ends of the canal. And so my job as commander is to defend the canal. And so when you think about it, you already mentioned it, the Panama Canal is perhaps the most strategically important military and infrastructure project economically in the Western Hemisphere. 71% of, over 70% of the goods and services flowing through the canal, either going to, originating from, or going from the United States. In a time of conflict and crisis, I need to make sure, my role to make sure I can get assets flowing through the canal. So again, we'll continue to work with our partners. Again, everything I say is by, with, and through. I was down there, I was able to sign a cyber arrangement with the Panamanian partners. Sector was pretty clear about our focus there to make sure we build our capability and capacity, but again, by, with, and through. So again, I don't go and push my values. I really just kind of engage with our partners. What is it that you need? How can we help you do your jobs and defend your people? And so in my case, working with them to defend the canal.
Well, that's a really helpful perspective, and I think it gives some of us a better, well, all of us hopefully, a better understanding of how you're viewing it, and I think these are really important issues. Thank you for discussing that. I want to shift gears just a little bit to another issue that you have to deal with on a daily basis, the issue of Venezuela. I'm not asking you easy questions, Admiral. Your staff said, you know, throw anything at him, he can handle it. So, but the issue is really one of destabilizing the region. We've got a number of elections coming up in the region this year and next year in democracies throughout the region. You mentioned cyber already. Those activities to destabilize elections and to interfere are there. They've been utilized in the past. Venezuela has proven willing and able to do that. You also have a potential border issue with Guyana, which is worrying a lot of people. How do you think about these issues? I mean, they're really complicated. They've been going on for a long time. You're a combatant command. You have a specific role. How do you view Venezuela today?
So I think everything that we've talked about today has got to be through a whole of government approach. Right. So as I look at Venezuela, we watch Maduro was able to leverage this institutional control to maintain power. We know since 2013, over 8 million Venezuelans fled the country. So my role as a combatant commander is to make sure that I work with our allies and partners in the region to make sure as we go forward, we can mitigate the migration, the amount of migration on our partners to make sure they continue to build their militaries and build their security forces to take on different threats and their societies, right? I'm concerned about the Guyana as well. With my second week in the job as a combatant commander, the President Ali visited the headquarters. He was a chance to kind of share some of his thoughts. He brought his Minister of Defense as well. And so I'm watching the Essequibo region very closely, watching everything that Venezuela does and make sure I can continue to to work with our partners in the region to get after that. Again, I think, but a whole of government approach, right, is required. We have to do that as well as the military, and make sure we can understand and support our partners in the region.
Presumably the same approach you would take with reference to Haiti, a country that's having real economic and political difficulties. We do have, in the United States, we do have experience with migration flows and crises in Haiti and elsewhere as well, but is SOUTHCOM prepared for the potential of a true collapse where you would have migration flows to the United States? How would you handle those? Surely you've gamed that out and you're prepared for it, but how would you anticipate handling that?
Well, first I would say, as we look at the southwest border right now and the migration that comes to our nation, there's been a key support to get after that with our Coast Guard ships and aircraft as well. But SOUTHCOM always plans and postured for a Caribbean mass migration. That's part of the things we do day in, day out. In fact, when we started looking at this current migration scenario, I actually did a modification to that plan to prepare Gitmo, Haiti, Gitmo for Haitians or Cuban refugees coming across, right, in support of Department of Homeland Security. So we're always prepared to do that. My role right now is in support of the MSS, right, U.S. government support to MSS, multinational security support mission to Haiti, which is there to augment the Haitian National Police and build a capability capacity to take on the gangs. Now, my specific role as the SOUTHCOM commander is to provide logistics, supplies, services, and support. So we have logistics support areas set up at the airport, where we continue to fly food, water, supplies, ammunition, vehicles to make sure the Kenyan-led force can continue to take on the gangs. So right now they're doing roughly quick reaction force. Yeah. They're going after securing the airport, going after the gang members, Haitian National Police headquarters, trying to keep that secure. What we need is a more international support.
Yes. Thanks,
support from CARICOM and others in the region, and internationally, right, to get after this. The most successful mission in the last 20 plus years was MINUSTA, from 2004 to 2017. At that time, the high point, there was 13,000 troops, military, and police on the ground. And on average, anywhere from 6,000 to 7,000. Right now, the MSS is essentially 1,000 people. Great support from Guatemala, El Salvador, Bahamas, Jamaica as well, and Belize. So again, that's where we are today. And so I think growing that out, having the support from an international community to get after that is kind of the way forward. Essentially, we're looking at a UN peacekeeping mission at some point.
I mean, that's such a key point, and the reason why I raise it, I had the privilege at the Council of the Americas last week to host the President of the Dominican Republic, and we asked him a question about Haiti, and he was very, said exactly the same thing. We need more international engagement on this. Right. It's such a complicated thing to do, and meantime, the Haitian people are the ones that are suffering. And the question is, how do you do that? You mentioned MINUSTA, great success in many ways. Significantly larger effort than what we currently have underway. Is there a chance that what we have underway expands? And I don't want to get you into the politics of the moment, that's not the point, but from what you're seeing on the ground and the needs for security, you would, a layperson like myself would think you need more assets. And the question is, how do you do that in the international arena?
Right, I think so right now. I think we have to continue to work with whole of government, whole of world approach to garner international support. If you think about the Kenyans coming from Africa to support this effort, who else is there? Yeah. Who else can support? Financially as well, right? But that's kind of a Department of State. I'll stay in my lane from a DoD standpoint. I will support the mission until told otherwise. And right now, that's the logistics, supply, support, and services. And I do think that the right transition is probably some type of UN peacekeeping mission. Yes.
Admiral, we have only a few minutes remaining, and I want to change the focus to a question that's on the minds of many people. It's not even necessarily a Western Hemisphere question. It's a question about your career in the military and the career of perhaps junior officers, others who are looking to make the military a career. These are complicated times. Washington is going through a lot of changes. And I'll personalize this for just a bit. As I mentioned at the beginning, I have a son who's a lieutenant in the Navy. He doesn't want me to tell this, so disregard this, Andrew. But he's gotten to the point where he's going to have to make a decision pretty quick. The U.S. taxpayer has trained him as a nuclear engineer. He's done a fine job. He's got all kinds of various things in his favor. But the point is, the question is, what would you tell him in the current state of the military and what the opportunities might be versus where the private sector is and some of the opportunities outside? In other words, this is a chance to really make a recruiting pitch and to say, a career in the military is a really fantastic thing. And I just wonder how you would say that to a junior officer of any particular, wherever you go. I'm sure you get to ask this question every day you're around. So I'm just curious to see how you would respond.
So that's a great question. My oldest son is actually a naval aviator.
Yes.
He's the best helicopter pilot in the family. I think I said that before, he's the best. So he's been at 10 years now. I think we joined for different reasons. We joined for opportunity. We joined to find a job, that we leave our communities. We joined to see the world. But we stay for different reasons, right? So I joined the Navy to fly aircraft. I stayed because I wanted to lead and make a difference. And I'm reminded of a few years ago, I commanded a carrier strike group. It was Joy, the Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group. And we were visited underway by NBC Nightly News. And they were excited. They saw jets taking off, jets landing. They saw aircraft, flying around, helicopters. They saw, ships steaming in formation. They saw the most survivable airfield in the world, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier moving through the water at 30 plus knots. They were really, really impressed. And I'm excited right now when I think about it. But let me tell you what else they saw. Yeah. They saw young men and women, the average age of 22, serving a cause greater than themselves. Yes. And I like to say that didn't occur by happenstance. I think it underscores who we are as a nation. Employers union out of many one, serving, making a difference, and sacrificing and perhaps laying down your life for some people you would never know. So I look at service as a calling. So over the years, I've advised young people who decide to get out. And in my family personally, I have 37 years of service. My son's coming up on 10 years. My father served in the Korean War. So combined immediate family, over 50 years of service. We do it not because we have to, we do it because we choose to. Right. And so I think telling young people, look for those opportunities that you can to learn, to grow, and to make a difference and serve your country. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's those young people on that aircraft carrier making things happen day in, day out. The young men serving in faraway land right now stand to watch. Those are the things that excite me about service, excite me from the very get-go. I share with you that my first time ever being in an airplane, I was 20 years old. Never been in an airplane, commercial airplane, or anything. And to think that 3 years later, I was solo on a plane by myself, and I'm a winged naval aviator. I did that through the Navy, through the opportunity in the Navy, right? So I think there's a lot of opportunity. I think you have to take advantage of it. And then when the time comes, every day is not easy. There's very hard days, very challenging days. We pick each other up, and we lead them, and we make sure they have the tools they need to do their jobs. Thank you.
Well, you've convinced me. I mean, I'm almost 60 years old, but I think I'm going to try to get, can I enlist or can I do?
And the picture says that too,
yeah,
right?
Right, exactly. Don't believe what you see, but thank you. And thanks to all of you for joining us in this conversation this morning. Regrettably, our time is at an end, but Admiral, I just want to say two things. First of all, thank you. This has been a really enriching and educational conversation. I've enjoyed it immensely. But also, congratulations for your service, where you are now, and the great things that you will be doing in the future. We're on your side, we're on your team, we're looking to see where that takes us. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me in thanking the Admiral for his terrific comments this morning.